Seeking natural solutions for your health and wellness? Look no further than Garden Root Remedy. We offer handcrafted herbal tinctures, salves, teas, and more made with only the highest quality organic herbs. We provide personalized consultations to help you find the perfect herbal remedy for your specific needs. Experience the power of nature's healing touch. Visit Garden Root Remedy online at gardenrootremedy.com. That's gardenrootremedy.com. Rooted in nature, blooming with wellness.
Hello, it's your favorite president telling Todd Huff listeners about Mega Milk Protein Powder. That's what we're calling it, Mega Milk. It's protein for patriots, okay? American-made Mega Milk destroys dad bods and builds a big, beautiful wall of mega muscle on your entire body. So true. Don't buy protein made in China. You'll be a total disaster, a weak loser. Your workouts are winning. Drink Mega Milk. Go to magamuscle.com and put some Trump in your pump. magamuscle.com.
Attention, you're listening to the Todd Huff Radio Show, America's home for conservative, not bitter talk radio. Be advised that the content of this program has been documented to prevent and even cure liberalism, and listening may cause you to lean to the right. Here's your conservative, but not bitter host, Todd Huff.
Well, that is right, my friends. You have tuned in here to America's home for conservative, not bitter talk. Thank you for joining us. You made a very, very wise decision. You will not regret it in the slightest. My friends, I look for a place to set my water here today. So, I want to continue what we were talking about last hour. As we've been talking about tariffs, we spent a lot of time talking about the Premier of Ontario, Doug Ford, on CNBC's Squawk Box, telling the hosts there that Canada would eliminate their tariffs today if Trump would do the same. This is precisely what Trump said he was going to do the entire time. And so this could be wonderful news. Now, we ended the hour by talking about a way that the Democrats and even some Republicans are looking at derailing Trump and what he's doing with tariffs. They have an uphill battle, but it potentially could pass the Senate. It could go to the House. The House is very narrowly divided. Who knows if it passes the House chamber? We will see. Of course, what's going to happen from there. It seems unlikely, but it is probably the greatest risk that what Trump's trying to do through tariffs with Canada and the progress he's making. He's on the verge of getting exactly what he wanted for this country. Forget for a moment. I know some people hate Trump so much that they don't want Trump to win. But when Trump wins, America wins. So let's just forget about Trump for a moment, and let's just say that if Canada drops their tariffs, that's a win for the American economy, the American business, the American worker. So I want to continue talking about that. There's plenty of other things to get to as well in the stack of stuff. By the way, if you're a new listener, the Stack of Stuff is a place on our website where you can go to see the things that we have referenced, some of the clips, some of the stories and articles and so forth that we'll talk about. You can go and read those yourself, ToddHuffShow.com. It's called The Stack of Stuff in honor of the late, great Rush Limbaugh. He was the inspiration for this program. I'm not Rush. I don't try to mimic him. There's some things that I'll do to really keep his memory alive and to acknowledge his impact on me and on many of you as well. But one of the things we do is call it the stack of stuff in honor of Rush. Rush used to have a physical stack of stuff. We've got a digital stack of stuff at the website, and you can check it out at ToddHuffShow.com. All right, so before we get rocking and rolling, my friends, let me remind you, look, I know that many of you agree with the mission of this program. The mission of what we do is to help others hear and receive truth. And we've been growing. We're able to reach, by the grace of God, more and more people as time goes on. And one of the things we're looking to do as we've been growing is to provide a place where people can go who listen to this program who want a little bit more content, a little bit more behind the scenes stuff, and actually begin to not just talk about these things, listen to these things, engage intellectually in these exercises, talking about the issues, thinking about them. Yes, it's entertaining. Yes, it's educational. I can't blame you for listening for those reasons. But if you're looking to actually begin to find practical ways to to make more of a difference, right, outside of what you're experiencing just from learning and thinking about things and all of that, if you want to take it to the next level, I suppose, we've got a membership program that we are launching that's called the Inner Circle. The Inner Circle. And so we're starting with the lifetime membership for those who want to be founding members of the Inner Circle. I want to say thank you to those of you who have joined. But for $99, you'll be a member for life. As long as you're here, as long as the program's here, you will have a membership to the program, one-time investment, $99, and you'll be part of it in the early phases. This is not for everybody. May not even be for you, my friends, but for those who really want to take what they're learning and do stuff practically with it, impact their community, be more persuasive, this is where you can do that. So, text JOIN to 317-210-2830 if you're interested. Again, the word JOIN, JOIN, to 317-210-2830, or you can go to toddhuffshow.com/join, toddhuffshow.com/join, and that's join, JOIN. All right, so let's look here at this article, which is, I think it's in the stack of stuff. It is in the stack of stuff here. So this is PJ Media. Now, I've already referenced Trump's, and I read it at the end of last hour, Trump's post on Truth Social. So I'm not going to go too far into this, but I just want to point this out. This is from Canada's perspective. Again, if you go back to last hour, Doug Ford, Premier of Ontario, what he's hoping for and what other Canadians are hoping for is that politically Trump's ability to initiate tariffs on Canada falls apart because politically he loses the power to do so. And so they're trying to take away one of the things they're trying to do, which I'll just read from this. President Donald Trump is ramping up pressure, again, this is pjmedia.com, on 4 Republican senators ahead of a key Senate vote that could unravel his efforts to hold Canada accountable for its role in the fentanyl crisis. The measure, a joint resolution backed by Democrats, seeks to terminate the national emergency Trump declared on fentanyl, effectively overturning his executive order imposing tariffs on Canada. So, to make it simple, Trump cited in his executive order, when he talked about initiating tariffs on Canada, that the reason was that there's a national emergency regarding fentanyl, the drug fentanyl, and it's coming across the border from Canada, of course from Mexico as well, but we're talking specifically about Canada. There's news from Mexico as well, by the way, which we'll probably touch on briefly, but Trump says because of that, to stop that crisis from happening, that national emergency, I'm going to get involved and I'm going to institute tariffs. These tariffs are going to be used to help motivate, I suppose you could say, push Canada into actually doing something to help stem the flow of fentanyl into the United States of America. So the Democrats have said, let's just say that it's not a national emergency. And so the Democrats were looking for some Republicans to join them, and they found 4 of them. And I went through this last hour, but the 4 are Mitch McConnell, Susan Collins, Lisa Murkowski, and Rand Paul. Now, really quickly, I had some social media not back and forth. The person agreed with me, but there were some comments on this. Someone commented Rand Paul is a sellout, to which I said, I don't think so. Look, friends, I like Rand Paul. I like Thomas Massie. They're both from Kentucky. Rand Paul, of course, is a senator. Thomas Massie is a representative in Congress. But just because you have a different political position doesn't mean you're a sellout. I understand when there are thin margins, the slightest thing can cause a big problem to what we're trying to accomplish, right? What Trump is trying to accomplish. And so I don't like that Rand Paul sees it this way, but I think Rand Paul, he's different than McConnell, Murkowski, Susan Collins, Lisa Murkowski, Susan Collins. They're not on Trump's side. They don't like Trump. They don't like Trump executing executive authority and so forth. And so they're just against him. They're embittered against him. They hate him. They're rhinos. Rand Paul is not those things. Rand Paul is libertarian. Rand Paul is principled in his adherence to the Constitution. And Rand Paul is concerned about executive power, executive authority. Let me say this. I am too. I think the only difference would be, I believe that Congress has granted slightly more executive power to the executive branch. The Constitution, I should say. The Constitution has granted slightly more authority to the executive branch than Rand Paul thinks that it has. Rand Paul is not comfortable with, he doesn't like tariffs to begin with, but he also doesn't like the executive branch being able to take action simply because they say something is an emergency. I don't like that either, but context matters. Context certainly matters. And the question is whether or not you think the fentanyl crisis is an emergency. The question is, beyond that, do you think that the fentanyl crisis, insofar as the drugs are coming over the northern border versus the southern border, how big of a problem is that? It's clearly a bigger problem along our southern border, but it doesn't mean that it's not a problem along the northern border as well, especially when you're looking at the overall impact of the drug being smuggled into the United States along from wherever it comes, right? If it comes through ports in the United States. So the question is whether or not I think you see fentanyl as the fentanyl drug crisis as a national emergency. And listen, I think reasonable people can maybe disagree with how they see that, but I think everyone would say it's at least a problem. It's at least a significant problem. And I would say it is an emergency, a national emergency, because it's risen to the point, it's killing our citizens. How many people would be alive today if the drug wasn't coming across the border? I'm not here to say that, someone else wouldn't have found another drug of choice or something. There's lots of things we don't know and can never really quantify, but it's indisputable that drugs coming across the southern border are killing, and the northern border, coming into this country through ports, wherever they're coming through from China. These things are hurting Americans, destroying lives, killing people. So I happen to agree that this is this is the president's prerogative. He's trying to protect the American people. He's trying to keep an illegal substance from entering into this country, and it's coming in large quantities. Again, it's we believe, more coming across the southern border than the northern border. But again, if you're trying to fight the battle overall, are these two things even, can they be separated? I would say it's all part of the bigger picture. So, but I also respect Rand Paul. I do. So I don't think he's a sellout, and I don't think that this is actually going to end up making a difference, but I would like this never to be able to get out of the Senate, because now you're pressing the envelope on what happens next with Congress, and you only need a couple of defections there before now it passes out of the House of Representatives as well. So that is, in my estimation, when you look at Canada, the only way they can avoid the inevitable, which is they're going to have to get rid of their tariffs. I don't see any other way that they can survive. They cannot endure the tariffs anywhere near as much as the United States of America can. The size of our two economies isn't close. Our dependence upon each other, they depend much more on the United States than we depend upon them. That's not a smack in their face or disrespect. That's just, them's the facts. That's the reality. And so they need something like this, or they're going to be in a world of hurt on this issue. So it's encouraging to see that they have taken steps in the right direction to, well, it sounds like it anyway, that they're prepared to make the concession that tariffs need to be eliminated on both sides, which is precisely what President Trump wanted from the beginning. Now, I'll also report to you and tell you, townhall.com is where I found this. This headline here, townhall.com, another country folds, it says, in the face of Trump's tariff war. Jeff Charles talking this time about Mexico. The Mexican government will not impose retaliatory tariffs if President Donald Trump's proposed duties go into effect on April 2nd. Mexican President Claudia Sheinbaum indicated on Wednesday that the nation, it's got the word indicated in here twice, sorry, that's what made me pause, that the nation will look at other ways to navigate the imminent tariff war, according to Reuters. Here is a poll quote from Reuters. Mexican President Claudia Sheinbaum said Wednesday that Mexico doesn't plan to impose retaliatory tariffs on the United States ahead of President Trump's announcement of plans to impose new tariffs. Sheinbaum added that Mexico will on Thursday, quote, announce a comprehensive program, not a tit-for-tat on tariffs. So the message is being delivered. And these countries are trying to figure out, listen, I try to be, one of the things I try to do, maybe to a fault, and I didn't always do this, but I try to really understand what the other side, their realities, right? So these tariffs have been benefiting Mexico, have been benefiting Canada, have been benefiting the European Union. And so they've come to rely on this. It's embedded now in how the system works. And so they have an advantage. They have an advantage over the United States of America when it comes to the rules with how we engage in commerce between our nations. And so they have this advantage in the rule book. It's baked in to how it works. People have learned how to play by the rules, whatever those rules were, have been. And, it's not a static sort of thing. It's dynamic. So when you establish a set of rules, it's not just, people adjust to be able to get as much of an advantage from the rules, right? Just like when you pass, I'm always amazed when I hear people criticize people, billionaires, millionaires, whoever, just regular people, from taking advantage of tax write-offs. It's the law. They're not under any moral obligation to not take something that is in the law. If you don't want to take it, you don't have to take the write-off. If you want to, if you don't think that there's enough taxes, there's a line. You can actually tell your accountant, I want to send more money to the federal government. You can even, I remember talking about this on this program before. I didn't know this previously, but you can actually assign the Department of Treasury. Go ahead, cut them a check. Say, have at it. I love what you're doing. I love all the crazy expenses I've seen that Doge has uncovered. I want to make sure that you can continue doing more of this. Here's a check. Make it, live it up. Go out there, have pizza parties. Well, it wouldn't be pizza parties. It'd be shrimp cocktail and caviar and everything else. Go live it up. Take lavish trips. Go around the world on private jets. Live it up. Here's my donation to help make that happen. But see, the reality is we all look for the best way to limit legally our tax liability. There's a whole profession around this. This is what accountants seek to do. They seek to help people limit their tax liabilities. People pay them money so that they don't have to pay the government more money. So it's an entire business model. So it's in the system. Just like the tax law is the tax law, even though I hate it, it's a mess. It never should have been this way. I don't like the government picking winners and losers or telling people the way that they should live their lives. I'm not a fan of that. But that's the way that it is. Don't penalize me for following the rule of the land. You can criticize me if you want, but don't try to think that I am under any obligation to not follow the law. And likewise, the people in Canada, the people in Mexico, other countries around the world, okay, we've got this situation where these are the rules. They're stupid rules. They're terrible rules. They're one-sided rules. So they have adjusted. They have made choices in their individual businesses, families, right? They've made choices as to how they're going to deal with the law, the way that it operates, the way that the tariff works. And so they've come to rely upon this. They've made at least a couple of decisions to adjust to what the rules are. Canada's economy has gotten accustomed to projections and predictions on how much we will be able to make from these tariffs. They're relying upon their revenue sources and all of that. I understand it. But certainly the other side could understand that we're tired of only having our products taxed through tariffs and not having yours taxed in return. Why do you get to have an advantage? Why do you get to penalize American companies, but we don't get to show priority over or for American countries, at least insofar as tariffs are concerned? Why? Why is this the case? Why is that fair? If you don't like the tariffs that we're about to institute on you and just have instituted on you, then eliminate yours. Trump's told you what he's going to do, my friends. This is, to me, pretty straightforward. But Mexico is not going to continue. Now, they're going to have a comprehensive program. Who knows what that will mean specifically? But they're not going to have a tit-for-tat series of tariffs because Trump's just going to match them. So folks better understand that where this is headed, and it's not in a good place. The sooner Mexico, Canada, the other folks around the world that are being impacted by this realize that the smartest thing to do is just to get rid of your tariffs. I understand the realities, but no one said that you should not face consequences at some point for taking advantage of this country here in the United States of America. So, friends, I'm about to take a time out, but let me remind you, every dollar we spend is a vote for the kind of America that we want to live in. You've heard the phrase, voting with your dollars. Well, that's precisely what we do, my friends, and that's why we've launched Freedom Marketplace as a free directory of businesses that align with your conservative values. They have made a promises, these businesses that are listed there. They will not support leftist candidates or causes, and if they do, they're out, my friends. So if you're tired of funding the woke agenda by purchasing products from businesses that are woke and supporting leftist causes, Freedom Marketplace is for you. Visit freedommarketplace.net. It's free, it's easy, and it's a good way to support businesses that are pushing in the same direction that you are, my friends. freedommarketplace.net. Quick time out. You're listening here to the home of conservative, not bitter talk. I'm your host, Todd Huff, back in just a minute.
Seeking natural solutions for your health and wellness? Look no further than Garden Root Remedy. We offer handcrafted herbal tinctures, salves, teas, and more made with only the highest quality organic herbs. We provide personalized consultations to help you find the perfect herbal remedy for your specific needs. Experience the power of nature's healing touch. Visit Garden Root Remedy online at gardenrootremedy.com. That's gardenrootremedy.com. Rooted in nature, blooming with wellness.
Hello, it's your favorite president telling Todd Huff listeners about MAGA Milk Protein Powder. That's what we're calling it, MAGA Milk. It's protein for patriots, okay? American-made MAGA milk destroys dad bods and builds a big, beautiful wall of MAGA muscle on your entire body. So true. Don't buy protein made in China. You'll be a total disaster, a weak loser. Your workouts are winning. Drink MAGA milk. Go to MAGAmuscle.com and put some Trump in your pump. MAGAmuscle.com.
Gear up, level up. Tired of the same old gun shop experience? Red Team Armory is not just selling firearms. We're providing a VIP experience. Rifles, handguns, shotguns, top-tier optics, unbeatable ammo prices. We've got you covered. Whether you're a seasoned pro or just starting out, we're dedicated to helping you find the perfect setup. Fast shipping and expert advice. Visit us online at todd.redteamarmory.com. Red Team Armory. Your mission, our gear.
Welcome back, my friends. All right, so shifting gears a little bit here. Nationalpulse.com headline here: Tariffs boosted economy in Trump's first term. So we're talking here about tariffs. Tariffs have been criticized. I'm not a fan of tariffs in and of themselves in a free market sense. If we didn't have the other forms of taxation, and if we returned to tariffs, as we did in our early days of this country, as a primary source of revenue for this country, or a bigger source of revenue for this country, then that would potentially make more sense for me if that was the case. But that's not where we are today. So I'm not here as a pro-tariff guy, but tariffs as a tool are a different thing for me because, again, as we talked about repeatedly on this program, it doesn't make any sense to allow your other countries to charge tariffs on your products being imported into their country and expect to be able to export products from their country into the United States and not have to pay a tariff in return. And to demand, in fact, that they don't pay a tariff. But getting past all of that, research has been conducted. And it has revealed that tariffs had a positive impact on the economy, boosted the economy, in fact, according to the National Pulse here, in Trump's first term. Now, there's some bullet points of the article. I'm going to read these at first. We might read part of the article as well, but let's start by saying this. The bullet points are: President Trump has announced new tariffs aimed at promoting fair trade, which we've talked about today, and supporting American workers and businesses. That's been the core of what we've been discussing today. Research shows tariffs boosted the economy in his first term. President Donald Trump, the United States Trade Commission, Economic Policy Institute, U.S. steel producers, American consumers, they're all involved in this, in the tariffs and how the economy was boosted, according to research, in Trump's first term. So let's just read, as I'm looking at the bullet points, let's just read this, a part of this. For the first time in several decades, the U.S. is poised to redefine its trade dynamics as President Trump introduces tariffs aimed at equalizing trade conditions for American industries and American workers. This strategic move, reminiscent of actions taken during his first administration, aims to bolster economic growth. Research conducted on the impact of tariffs from President Trump's first term suggests that these measures fortify the U.S. economy. A 2024 study highlighted that tariffs resulted in a significant reshoring in sectors such as manufacturing and steelmaking, while a 2023 U.S. International Trade Commission report revealed that tariffs curtailed imports from China and promoted local production. The report indicated minor downstream price effects. Minor, but there are downstream price effects, aligning with findings by the Economic Policy Institute, which emphasized that tariffs did not exacerbate inflation and had a negligible impact on prices overall. So, I mean, this is what the research is showing. This is what science, if we will, wants to or has unveiled before our very eyes. So, following implementation of Section 232 measures in 2018 and prior to the global downturn in 2020, U.S. steel output, employment, capital investment, and financial performance all improved, the Economic Policy Institute stated. This period saw U.S. steel producers commit over $15.7 billion with a B to new or upgraded facilities, generating approximately 3,200 jobs. So there's more to this. I've read about half of it. I just wanted to give you the gist. So tariffs have had a positive impact on the economy, impacting prices negligibly. Small impact, slight but small. In fact, if you were to compare the impact that the government has on increasing prices and the impact that tariffs, say the government bureaucracy, government, just adding cost to things, but also creating too much money that's justifiable for the money supply, which is what real inflation actually is. It's not just the increase in prices. Inflation is when there's too much money introduced into the system, because it's a savvy way, it's a sneaky way for politicians to hide taxes from the American people. Instead of directly making people pay the taxes, what they do is they produce extra dollars into the economy, which can work their way back to the government, so government can pay for these things. But because they created too many dollars, they end up making the dollars in existence worthless, not completely worthless. Although they're headed that direction, they were headed that direction under President Joseph Robinette bribery. So, it's kind of hard to argue with some of this stuff. So not only are the tariffs working to generate fairer trade between our nation and other nations, their negative impact on the economy overall in regards to raising prices is negligible. In fact, it actually causes businesses to produce more domestically, which leads to U.S. job increases. And that's really what Trump is trying to do. Whether you disagree with it or not, I would say at least disagree with it for what it is. It's not because Trump is trying to cause financial havoc in the lives of Americans. There could be a period where this is difficult and we'll have to work through it, but it's for a season. The path that we're on, leaving these things unchecked, and by the way, no future presidents, if this stuff is going to be dealt with, it's going to be dealt with now, right? I don't think, and I can be wrong, but I don't think we're going to find a president who's going to be as ambitious and driven and undeterred by the negative things that are said about him, the opposition, as President Trump. I think this is a gift. It's a once in a lifetime sort of opportunity. I hope that there's more similar to him with their fight in the waiting in the wings to come in. But if there are, they're a distant second place. It's not even close. So that's where we are, my friends. These things have to be dealt with now. Do we have short-term economic discomfort as we're navigating these things, as we're waiting for other countries to realize they're going to have to get rid of their tariffs and then we can lift ours? Is it worth a couple of months of discomfort, or is it better to let these nations, by their rules, by their tariffs, continue to apply more pressure to American businesses, which impacts American families, the workers and their families, makes it harder to get a job, makes certain types of jobs non-existent because the rules are different. But if American companies can compete on an equal footing in a fair environment where they're not penalized for importing their products, American companies can compete in some of these markets. Maybe not all of them. Every scenario is different, but we shouldn't be shooting ourselves in the foot by allowing, that's a metaphor, by the way. That's not a call to violence, TikTok or some leftist listening out there. But we shouldn't be doing those things. We shouldn't just let the way that these rules have been set up to continue to harm the United States of America. Trump says those days are over. I'm glad he's saying that. And so that's why we're doing the things, he's doing the things that he's doing, and there is a light at the end of the tunnel. These countries are not going to be able to sustain this with the United States. It's simple math at this particular point in time. So that's where we are. I'm about to wrap up this segment, my friends, and take a quick time out. But let me ask you a question before I do. Would you rather take 2 soft gels a day or spend hours in a doctor's office talking about your cholesterol? I know what I would choose, and that's why I take Salty. I think you should consider taking it as well. It's all natural, clinically proven product, supplement that helps you lower cholesterol. Now, I'm not against doctor's visits. I don't want you to misunderstand me. I'm just saying this is a great place to start, a great place to try to get a hold of your bad cholesterol, a great way to look out for your heart health in a natural way that doesn't involve drugs and prescriptions and doctor's visits. So all it takes, my friends, are 2 Salty soft gels a day. That helps you have a great start in taking care of your overall heart health. So if you're concerned about that, if you want to try this is a very affordable, incredibly affordable product. You go to Salty.com, SOLTEA, use promo code TODD. That will save you 50% off your first 3-month supply. It comes in 3-month supply increments, and you will get free shipping as well. So Salty.com, promo code TODD, you'll save 50%. You'll get free shipping. 2 soft gels a day, my friends. It doesn't get much easier than that. The only thing that you have to lose are those high cholesterol points. And I've got to take a break, my friends. Quick timeout. Back here in just a minute.
Seeking natural solutions for your health and wellness? Look no further than Garden Root Remedy. We offer handcrafted herbal tinctures, salves, teas, and more made with only the highest quality organic herbs. We provide personalized consultations to help you find the perfect herbal remedy for your specific needs. Experience the power of nature's healing touch. Visit Garden Root Remedy online at gardenrootremedy.com. That's gardenrootremedy.com. Rooted in nature, blooming with wellness.
Hello, it's your favorite president telling Todd Huff listeners about Mega Milk Protein Powder. That's what we're calling it, Mega Milk. It's protein for patriots, okay? American-made Mega Milk destroys dad bods and builds a big, beautiful wall of MAGA muscle on your entire body. So true. Don't buy protein made in China. You'll be a total disaster, a weak loser. Your workouts are winning. Drink Mega Milk. Go to MAGAmuscle.com and put some Trump in your pump. MAGAmuscle.com.
Gear up, level up. Tired of the same old gun shop experience? Red Team Armory is not just selling firearms. We're providing a VIP experience. Rifles, handguns, shotguns, top-tier optics, unbeatable ammo prices. We've got you covered. Whether you're a seasoned pro or just starting out, we're dedicated to helping you find the perfect setup. Fast shipping and expert advice. Visit us online at todd.redteamarmory.com. Red Team Armory, your mission, our gear.
Welcome back, my friends. So I have actually something I mentioned earlier in the program that I've not yet gotten to, that I candidly forgot to get to. It's related to tariffs, as we spent today's program talking about this. But Trump's position on tariffs has been consistent for a long time. I think Oz sent me this as well, but I saw this at townhall.com, White House posts flashback. Trump has been talking about this for decades. This is Katie Pavlich of townhall.com. And so they posted a clip, an old video clip of Trump on with Oprah Winfrey. Now, I'm old enough to know. I remember as a young man, a young kid, coming home from school, and my mom sometimes would have Oprah on television. I remember this. I think it came on at like 4 o'clock here back in the day. This is a long, long time ago. But she would, from time to time, she had Donald Trump on sometimes. Donald Trump was always a big name in I just remember his name as a kid, right? He was on the news. He had this big, brash personality. He would be on shows like this with Oprah. He just was a name that I was always familiar with. I never knew too much about him until he started The Apprentice. I used to watch that with my wife, then girlfriend. We used to watch The Apprentice when we were dating. I really hope this doesn't upset him. I really wasn't a fan of that show, to be candid, but it was successful. People liked the show and all of that. Anyway, and then, of course, when he started running for president, I knew much more about him. But he was out there saying these things for a long, long time. I mean, Trump has been very, very consistent regarding tariffs. Listen to him on Oprah.
And yet we let Japan come in and dump everything right into our markets and everything. It's not free trade. If you ever go to Japan right now and try to sell something, forget about it, Oprah. Just forget about it. It's almost impossible. They don't have laws against it. They just make it impossible. They come over here, they sell their cars, their VCRs, they knock the hell out of our companies. And hey, I have tremendous respect for the Japanese people. I mean, you can respect somebody that's beating the hell out of you, but they are beating the hell out of this country. Kuwait, they live like kings. The poorest person in Kuwait, they live like kings. And yet they're not paying. We make it possible for them to sell their oil. Why aren't they paying us 25% of what they're making? It's a joke.
It's a joke, he says. Why aren't they paying us? We're giving them access to this market. We're giving them pretty much whatever they want. They're living like kings. We're not taking advantage of our ability to leverage anything. We're making bad deals. We're not looking out for the American businesses. We're not looking out for the American worker, the American taxpayer. We're letting them walk all over us. They're kicking our hind ends. And it's sad. Trump says, I don't blame these other countries for, taking advantage of us or for whipping, just kicking our hind ends all over the place. But this is just, Trump's position on this has been rather consistent. He's always wanted to clean this up. And so just wanted to play that. I don't know what year that was. Probably back into the 80s. Oprah's hair looks like it was back in the 80s. I don't know exactly, but you get the gist, right? I mean, Trump's always been consistently in favor of not being taken advantage of. Trump's always been on the side of doing what's best for the American economy, the American worker, the American business. None of this stuff should be surprising. Remember this when people on the left will tell you that Trump doesn't have, people didn't vote for Trump because of this or that. Well, some of these things, these date back decades. Again, Trump's positions on a lot of things have been consistent. He's changed certainly on some things, as people do. We can't hold people to a high standard when we want to criticize them and then have no standard at all whenever they're up there pretend filibustering for 25 hours like Cory Booker did. It's just, and by the way, I have one of the things I want to get to. There's a clip that I have found. I don't know how I found this. Someone posted it. A clip during Cory Booker's make-believe filibuster speech here a couple of days ago. And there's an exchange he has with Senator Chris Coons on the floor of the Senate talking about Christianity and Jesus and taking care of the poor and the sick and those sorts of things. I wanted to get to that. I'd like to spend some time on that as time permits. But again, there's so many things to cover. Sometimes I can't get there. Also, I had a listener ask me about commenting or talking a little bit about Jasmine Crockett and her comments. And she says some downright purely racist things, asking me to comment on that. And I'd like to do that as well. There's just so many things vying for my attention, my friends. There's so many things happening in this news cycle. There's so many things happening in this presidency. Trump is full speed ahead. There's lots of things that we have to be prepared to talk about. I want to give you as much content around those things, as much information and conversation around them as I can, while also not neglecting things. Sometimes it's tough, candidly, to find and strike that balance. Anyway, that's all the time that I have today. Thank you so much for listening. I hope you have a wonderful day. SDG.
Seeking natural solutions for your health and wellness? Look no further than Garden Root Remedy. We offer handcrafted herbal tinctures, salves, teas, and more made with only the highest quality organic herbs. We provide personalized consultations to help you find the perfect herbal remedy for your specific needs. Experience the power of nature's healing touch. Visit Garden Root Remedy online at gardenrootremedy.com. That's gardenrootremedy.com. Rooted in nature, blooming with wellness.
Hello, it's your favorite president telling Todd Huff listeners about MAGA Milk Protein Powder. That's what we're calling it, MAGA Milk. It's protein for patriots, okay? American-made MAGA Milk destroys dad bods and builds a big, beautiful wall of MAGA muscle on your entire body. So true. Don't buy protein made in China. You'll be a total disaster, a weak loser. Your workouts are winning. Drink MAGA Milk. Go to MAGAmuscle.com and put some Trump in your pump. MAGAmuscle.com.